Lovely people, so I'm back, and once again this is not a narrowboat. Where are we? So it is May the 4th, no less. It is happy Star Wars Day to you, but it's happy boativersary to me. So 2 years ago today is when we took control, signed, well, I don't know, we didn't sign anything because you don't really sign anything when you buy a boat, but 2 years ago today is when the Enchantia officially became ours, and we moved her into our marina. Now, I made a video back in January, and I said I was going to make a video a couple of months later, and I did not, because just lockdown. So here we go. I'm going to make a video today, and I'm going to talk about the cost of owning a narrowboat and living on land. And in the course of trying to get ready for this video and kind of doing the research, so firstly, I'll get my quick disclaimer in because that's my way. I'm on my phone, and because I've got everything written down, figures and stats and the things. I've got all the things written down, so you may see me flicking up and down, making sure that I don't forget what the heck I'm doing. Secondly, in the research for this video, I was just going back through other YouTube videos to kind of find what I'd said already and see what I said I'd cover and all the things, because it's been a year, right? So I made a video called like Bathroom Part 1 or something like that, and it was, I checked today, it came out on the 14th of July last year, and I said we would have the bathroom in by August, and no. The world shut down, the marinas shut down, you weren't allowed to travel, you know the drill, all the things. So it is May the 4th, and we are nearly ready to finish the bathroom. Everything is up there. We are further on than we were. We've been going up like mad the last couple of weeks. So if you are not UK based, we were allowed back into the marinas on the 29th of March 2021 if you owned your own boat, is my understanding that was the proviso. The cut and the rivers were open from the 29th of March for, oh no, is that right? I think that's wrong. I know that they opened from the 12th of April, and I think everybody was allowed out from the 12th of April. I'm not sure if boat owners and continuous cruisers were allowed out at that point. What is time? I don't even know at the moment. Anyway, as it is, we've not got her out. The aim was to get her out and last weekend, but the wind was just blowing an absolute hoolie, so we did jobs instead. But yeah, the bathroom is much further on. I'm going to do a bit of a video, and I'm going to do a bit of a reveal on that one, and the master bedroom's done now. We've really pushed since the end of March, when we've been able to get back up there. We've really pushed to get stuff done. I've got the final coat put on the roof, and then the solar panels can go back on, and that's on order. So there's a quick flashing update for you. But I thought we'd talk today about the cost of owning a narrowboat and living on land and not living aboard. So I've done a ton of research, and I've written a blog post for it. So anything that I say here today with links will be in the blog, and I'll tag it down below. Because I know what it's like when you start thinking out, about buying a narrowboat. Everything just kind of, it feels like a lot. And so I thought we'd talk about it. So I've made a list, telephone, head bobbing up and down. Apologies. Right, okay, so the nitty gritties. Let's get going with the nitty gritties. Before you even think about buying a narrowboat, there are other things that you've got to consider first. And they are twofold, basically. So number one, how much money is it going to cost to keep it? And number two, how much time have you got to put into it to keep it? They are the two big commodities when it comes to buying a narrowboat before you even think about buying one. Followed up, the subheading that goes with that is, where are you going to keep it? Now, I push my soapbox out at this point because if you've got friends that are already continuous cruisers, that live aboard, that live on the cart, if you're lucky enough to know someone with a mooring at the bottom of their garden, the real outlying things that most of us don't have at our disposal, If you are one of those, completely ignore what I'm about to say. If you are not one of those and you're just like me, the only place to really store your narrowboat is in a marina. And I know that really, kicks up the fees. But unless you do know someone on the cut or with a private mooring that's going to keep an eye on your boat, theft is real on the canals. It is. There's no getting away from the fact that there are little ingrates everywhere, and your boat is at risk, at the very least, to kind of damage and just kids throwing things and being broken into. But leaving it unattended, especially in light of like the last year, if it were moored out on the cut and you weren't able to get to it, it's at least in a marina, you've got added security against lockdown and that kind of thing. Without lockdown, being in a marina, you've still got added security. The idea of pumping tens of thousands into a narrowboat and then parking it out on the canal network on a public byway and leaving it there, it's a lot. It's a lot. So, but again, just my opinion. So that's that. So number one. So where are you going to keep it? Now, marinas, hold on, up and down the country, there are marinas up and down the country where you can store your narrowboat. And what we'll do is we'll talk about sort of prices first, and then we'll talk about kind of what you get out of a marina. Now, what I've done is I've costed everything on a 57-foot narrowboat because that seems to be what most people are looking for. And just as a quick aside, if it is something that you are thinking about doing, there is a lot of talk on the marinas about 57-foot being the max length that you can get completely up and down the whole network. And my understanding for the large part is that is correct. If you go larger than that, you're not going to be able to get access to the network. But it's not just the 57-foot that you've kind of got to watch out for. And to be honest, 57-foot, I'm in a 63-foot narrowboat, and there are very few places that I can't get to. So kind of do your research, grab yourself a Nicholson's map, and check YouTube and all the things. It's not just about being 57 foot long that stops you getting access to certain parts of the network. It's also about how high you are and if you can get through the bridges. And admittedly, if it's a couple of mil either way, fill your diesel tanks, fill your water tanks, and drag the boat down as low as it can get into the water. Move all the coal into the well deck. You can you can centimetre the boat lower in the water if it's just a little bit that you're trying to get through. But, I think when you're looking at 70-foot boats, I think then you're cutting down, you are cutting down a bit more. But sort of 57 to 60, 62, you are mostly okay. But don't take my word for it. Do the research yourself. So, marina costs. God, I digress, I'm sorry. Marina costs 57 foot for 12 months, and they are based now for May 2021, going into 2022. The costings that I am going to give you are based on if you pay for 12 months at once. If you pay quarterly or monthly or 6 monthly, you will find that there is an added premium, which is why we tend to just lump it off, because it's up to a few £100s. Right, so Venetian Marina in Nantwich for a year with a 57-foot narrowboat will cost you £2,600. Kingfisher Marina in Northamptonshire, Milton Keynes area, will cost you £2,400. Braunston Marina, £3,100, and Froude's at Aldermaston, £2,900. Now they are loose approximations, pretty close, on a 57-foot narrowboat for the year. If you were wondering about London, short term, a few days here, a few days there, pre-booking is doable and affordable. If you are looking at periods of time in London, then yikes. Join the Facebook narrowboat groups and see what people say. If you're already in a marina, talk to the people in your marina and see what their advice is. Because with mooring in London, people have lots and lots of advice and information, and some of it's gold. So it's always worth listening to kind of what's current at the time. But yeah, if you want to be in London for a few weeks, prepare your wallet, prepare it accordingly. So what are you going to get from being in a marina? Now, we're down Aldermaston End on the K&A, and my understanding is that marinas largely have the same things. Most marinas have Wi-Fi. Obviously, take into account that with the basins, most marinas have a couple of basins. If you're on the furthest point, you're potentially going to need a booster. You know, if you've got a lot of data with your phone contracts and things like that, you can tag it up. Get one of the little EE boxes. I've got lots of data on my phone. I've got a little EE box, and then I can boost my data around the boat straight off of my phone. So there's that. There is normally shower and bathroom facilities. In some cases, there are washing facilities, pump out facilities, waste recycled, that kind of thing. And the other thing that you get from a marina is a group of people who know the ropes. They know what's going on local about river levels and, you know, what locks are open, what's closed for the winter, and all those things you can find out. Of course you can, but your marina is an absolute wealth of knowledge. We've got some lovely guys up at our marina. Right, okay. Now, taking into account your marina fees, that's going to come every single year. So before you begin, you've got to look at the long-term costs. The other thing you've got to think about is with marinas is where are they? So we are right down on the south coast, you know, so far on the south coast I can see the Isle of Wight. The closest marinas to us are over an hour away. So travelling time has to be figured into whatever we do. And like with lockdown, we live in one district, and where the boat is opened up before we did. So effectively the boat was able to be got to, but we couldn't leave where we were to travel to it. So there's that. Right, okay. Now that we've covered that one, the next thing to think about is the cost of your boat. Now, the cost of boats has, in my opinion, absolutely skyrocketed. Now, I think, and it's all conjecture at this point, that the lockdown and not being able to travel abroad and people just generally wanting to get out means that it's an available form of escape, it's an available form of holiday, and it feels slightly more affordable if you want, do you know what I mean? If we don't have money readily available to buy a holiday home, I think narrowboats and static caravans feel slightly more affordable to some people if they don't feel confident to travel in the next couple of years. All the things, but it is conjecture at this point. So 2 years ago when we were looking for roughly 57 to 65 foot narrowboat. We wanted it to be of a decent fit out inside. We weren't looking for a fixer-upper that had been blacked with a whole survey. That's kind of what we were looking for. And our budget was 30 to 35,000. And we had a lot of choice. There was a lot available out there. Spoiled for choice. Now, I was at the marina last week, just kind of chatting with the guys and as we were all hanging about, and I've written this down. So, a boat with a good fit out and spec, when you're looking at kind of brokerage, we are hearing whispers now that you're looking at £1,000 a foot. So my boat has effectively doubled in price in 2 years in expenditure, which is bloody shocking, isn't it? But it's a hell of an outlay. So if it's something, I suppose the thought is, if it's something that you're thinking about doing for the long term, you'd like to go ahead and do it now, but it's for the long term, it may be worth waiting a year to see if prices calm down. Because otherwise, God knows, you're going to be spending a fortune. When it comes to buying a boat, a lot of the marinas have brokerage. So Venetian, Wilton, Frouds, loads of places have boat brokerage. And what you will find if you're new to the narrowboat community is that it's pretty tight. The marinas are fully aware that in selling you a boat, if you're local, you're probably going to be moored there. Buying something that's perhaps not very good value for money is not really something we've come across. I can't say that it isn't out there, because isn't it everywhere? But buying through brokerages inside of the marinas, especially if you're going to be mooring up there, they're generally going to see you right. Apollo Duck is another website. Again, I'll tag it all down below in the blog. Apollo Duck is another one that has narrowboat listings. And then the other thing to do is to join the Facebook groups. Now, there are a couple of really good Facebook groups out there. They're not difficult to find. Just shove narrowboat into Facebook and you'll find it. Now, you will find narrowboats for sale on Facebook Marketplace, but you are buying them cold. So do your research, and we'll come to surveys and things like that in a minute, but do your research. When you are inside the narrowboat groups on Facebook, there is lots and lots of advice to be had, because narrowboaters love to talk about narrowboats, and they have lots of opinions about narrowboats, and they're really, really happy to share their advice. So get yourself in a group and ask questions. You'll always find someone to answer you. Facebook groups can be a bit salty. That is perhaps the only warning that you get. But then again, I think narrowboaters in general can be a bit salty. So if you're not salty, you may want to get yourself ready for being out on the cut, which is always quite fun. So once you have decided on your floating home, get it surveyed. Don't even think about not getting it surveyed. If it's been surveyed within the last 6 months, ask for a copy of the report, read it back to front, and then look at who's done the survey, look at how they are reviewed, all the things, because the survey is your safety net, and it's going to tell you all the things about the integrity of the hull and the thickness of the steel and all the things. So go ahead and get your survey done for your peace of mind. Right, here we go. A survey will cost between £500 to £700. And to do a survey, you want to haul it out of the water. Hauling it out of the water is £300 to £500. Now, I've got to get my disclaimer in, another one, I know I'm famous for them, is that I can't be more exact than this, because a hull survey is down to the foot of your boat, it's down to the measurement of your boat, it goes up and down with that. Hauling it out of the water is different prices, because you can haul the boat out of the water with a crane, with a tractor, or in a dry dock, and also on the length of your boat. So all those things impact the price. If you take the top price of every one I've given you, that should leave you with a little bit of change in your pocket. But this is boating, so I don't think you're going to get a lot of change, because there isn't any. The other thing I've got to say about prices is I'm in the south, I'm south of London. Now, when it comes to narrowboating, if you hit kind of London and go south, everything is more expensive. Marina fees are more expensive, haul-out fees, everything seems to be more expensive. And we've not found that to be any different. That's my experience. Others may have a different opinion, but that is mine. Right, okay, so striking them off. Right, let's talk about insurance. So insurance, I was pleasantly surprised. I was expecting more of a kind of a sea vessel kind of insurance. I had, triple figures flashing in the back of my brain. But actually, a boat with a fairly decent survey on it that's been well maintained, the insurance is around about £200 for the year. I use nautical insurance. Again, I'll tag the links up in the blogs for that one. Right, okay, getting them through. Licenses. You are going to need a inland waterways licence to be able to cruise the rivers and canals, and it's provided by the CRT. You can just get a canal licence. You don't have to have a river licence, but it completely depends on where you're based in the country. We're on the Kennet and Avon Canal, and we cross sections of river just to get out. So we have to have both. Now, if you're a first-time boat owner, and even if you're not, actually, if you are buying a boat and you are living aboard, not living aboard, and you are holding down a full-time job, my personal advice would be to not buy a year's Canal and Riverboat Trust licence, because they're expensive. But what you've got to take into account is of course, you're going to be full of that first rush to kind of get her out, and you're going to be racing up there every weekend to take her out and cruise her all around. But when you get in bad weather or when it's too windy and you're not able to get out of the marina, you'll find yourself kind of hunkering down on the boat, lighting the log burner and doing jobs. And so my advice would be to buy the 30-day ticket, it's called the Explorer, I think is what it's called. Now, my boat's a 63, but no, I've priced it on a 57. So again, on a 57-foot narrowboat, a 30-day Explorer licence will set you back £220, and it will give you 30 days to the canals and rivers. The only thing I can't say at this point is I'm not 100% sure about the Thames. I'm fairly sure that you need an extra licence for the Thames. The Canal and Riverboat Trust licence doesn't include your London, your Thames licence. I'm fairly sure when I looked into it, previous to the pandemic, when we were going to try and get into London, I'm fairly sure that there was a small fee on top. It wasn't a lot. I wasn't horrified. Double check me on that one. But the £220 fee for a licence to the Canal and Riverboat Trust will give you 30 days access to canals and rivers. It's a little ticket, goes in your window, and they do check. And you don't have to use it all in one go. So you can use 30 days across a year. And for those of us that had Explorer tickets when the lockdown came, they extended those tickets and did continue to extend, actually. Now, I feel like I've hammered you enough at this point, or hammered your wallet at any rate. And of course, there are other things. Does she need an engine service? Does she need new ropes? Were there windlasses on board when you bought her? Don't forget fuel and gas and, coal and all the other things that are costs that you might need initially and costs that you're definitely going to need in the long term. But for now, that's the big hit. So I hope you have found this useful, this Grand Prix style whip round of what it is to own a narrowboat and how much it costs. And you'll be seeing me with hopefully a bathroom reveal fairly soon. Take care, lovely people.